Next question.
We have JE. She has a family full of narcissists. She realized that her family dynamic is really not healthy and they have narcissistic traits, and she's allowing their dynamics to influence her child's upbringing. And so she's struggling with boundaries with her kids, and she's distancing herself and feels guilt from distancing herself from her family and what moral implications, particularly from a Christian perspective. But she was like, how does she get over the guilt and limiting this family relationship because she feels that it's her fault? She feels that she's the crazy one.
Well, if that's all true, then JE, you're probably living with a pretty good narcissist. You say you're shocked to realize that multiple family members exhibit these traits. When I say you're probably living with some effective narcissist, the things you're saying tell me that they're good at what they do. The narcissist personality disorder is one where they have the skill and ability to gaslight you, to make you feel like whatever's going wrong is your problem. I can promise you that confronting them is not going to help you at all. You cannot and do not want to argue with a narcissist. Now, I tell you that not to enable the narcissist, but to save you a lot of pain, misery, and wasted time. You're not going to win an argument with a narcissist. There's nothing you can say or nothing you can do that's going to create any insight, empathy, understanding, or remorse on their part because they don't have the ability to experience those feelings, thoughts, or disorders. They're going to blame you for whatever it is that you confront them with. So this is something that you're going to have to deal with on your own. So what I'm saying is the only person you control is you. That's true in 100% of your relationships. Now, what you can usually do in a relationship is inspire the other person to change. But in a narcissistic relationship, that's not going to happen. You're not going to inspire the other person to change. They have an unreasonably high sense of self-importance that requires constant and excessive attention. And they don't have the bandwidth, they don't have the ability to admit that they're wrong about something. They're too fragile because it's a false sense of superiority. And underneath that thin veil of competence and superiority is a very insecure and fragile individual. So if they admit any kind of wrongdoing, if they admit any kind of critical thought into their mind, everything can collapse. So they will fight to the death to keep from owning any kind of bad behavior. They expect to be recognized as superior, even if they don't have any achievements. And everything they do, they embellish them and make them seem bigger and more important than they are, and they belittle anything and everything that you do. They'll one-up you on everything, and if you come at them and say, look, you're really making me feel bad, then they're going to turn that around and try and get you to feel guilty for trying to blame them for something that they had nothing to do with. They'll get impatient, they'll get angry, they'll turn everything around on you. So what you have to do is distance yourself from these people, and if you choose to feel guilty about it, that's on you. These are people that very seldom get better with therapy, and changing them is certainly above your pay grade. This is something that probably is a function of genetics, neurobiology. It could be environmental that started way before you. They don't have good relationships. They're not going to have good relationships. And if you've got a child that's getting victimized by this, your duty, your loyalty is to the child. You need to protect your child from this person or these people. And if it means getting out of that house, getting out of those relationships, putting these people in your rearview mirror, that's what you need to do. Now, I'm saying all of this having never met you and having never met them. I prefaced all of this with a big IF. If what you're saying is true, then your choice is to get distance between you and them, and you shouldn't feel guilty about that. You should be proud that you recognized it and moved away. Now, the big if that I'm saying is I don't know if you're describing them accurately or not. But if they are narcissistic, truly, then you need distance because they're not very likely to change. And your duty is to your child. Get away from them, protect that child, get them into a healthy environment.
I know that R-Dub, he had the same question regarding his father, but you had mentioned previously about there's different types of narcissists. So R-Dub was talking about how his father shows no fear, cruel to animals, infidelity, and he walks around like he has an upstanding family, but on the inside, the family is cruel and mean. What was that type of person?
Well, that's not enough information to categorize them as a type of narcissist. You have narcissists that get their currency from social currency, that they always present themselves in an upstanding way. They love to do charity type things and get attention from the world. You have those that are aggressive and cruel. You have different types of narcissists that will show up in different ways. And I have a whole series about narcissists on Fill in the Blanks. And if you want detailed information about that, you can go to the series on narcissism. We had that series and we listed them all: how to handle a narcissist, what is a narcissist personality disorder, narcissism, navigating narcissism, then covert narcissistic intro, the malignant narcissist. These are the really mean, vicious narcissists. It just breaks all of these down. The communal narcissists, those that present themselves to the world in such a benign way. Then kind of the overview of the whole thing. The 4 kinds of narcissist. All of these things that are spelled out for you. And I promise you, you'll find everything you need there to navigate the terrain in dealing with a narcissist. You ask in your question, R-Dub, about attempts at reconciliation. Let me tell you, there's no reconciliation with a narcissist. That is nothing but a manipulation on their part, and you're not going to get where you want to go. You say that it's just frustrating for you, and it's going to continue to be frustrating you. And I hate to seem like such a fatalist about this, but I can tell you sometimes these people, even when they go to therapy, they actually get worse. And I'll tell you why. They have no ability for empathy. They have no ability on how to actually relate to someone. And when they go to therapy, they are manipulative enough to listen a little bit and model what the therapist says a normal feeling, empathetic person should and would do. And they don't treat it as a therapy session. They treat it as a training session. Like, oh, here's how to suck somebody in. Okay, if you're really healthy, if you're really caring, you say these kinds of things. So that just gives them more weapons, more tools to pull somebody in so they can flip on them and turn the whole story around, flip the script, and make them think whatever's going wrong is their fault. That's what psychopaths, sociopaths do, and narcissists are oftentimes possessing of those characteristics and traits. So I'm not saying none of them have ever gotten better, because the rare occasion they make a little progress, but very poor prognosis. So the chance of you, without the objectivity of someone that's not emotionally invested and having professional training, being able to turn them around is very unlikely. So if you're dealing with a true narcissist, and I always say if, because I'm only hearing your side of the story. Maybe you're overusing the word. Maybe they're not really that way. But if you're dealing with a true narcissist, your best choice is to get as much distance away, limit contact as much as possible, and fortify yourself. Remind yourself. I mean, even if you just say, okay, I'm unwilling to cut them out of my life because they're family, so I'm only going to see them in public for 15 minutes at a time, then write on your hand, maybe write down, say, it's them, not me. It's them, not me, where you don't get sucked in because they are good at what they do.